3, 2, 1, go!
Ergonomically terrific.
Hello and welcome to this latest episode of the Electronic Eggstra podcast. This one is the Amiga episode, but this is episode part 1 about the Amiga. So basically in this episode, we're going to go through a little bit about like the history of the system, but not massively. That's going to be more done in part 2 when we do a proper deep dive on the hardware and the different revisions and things like that. But this one, we'll go through a little bit of that, talk about our memories of the system, our favorite games, the state of the homebrew scene at the moment, as well as listening to the feedback from you guys who've used the Amiga and any questions that you have as well for us. So joining me to do this is the editor of the Amiga Addict magazine, or currently as it's known, Amiga Format Online, is Paul.
Well, I'm going to have to just jump in because it's actually Ian who's the editor. I'm editor of Pixel Addict.
Yes.
No, I have. Yes, it's okay. I'm not going to make you edit all that out. But yeah, I just want to give a shout out to my Amiga Addict editor, Ian. But yeah, that's thank you for the shout out on that because yes, it is a big deal. Our one-off tribute issue to Amiga Format, which if you're into the Amiga, there's a good chance that you bought that magazine back in the 90s. It ended back in 2000, which is 25 years ago, and with Future Publishing's blessing, we were able to borrow the title for one issue and bring back quite a lot of ex-Amiga Format writers to re-review games, be interviewed, do a few columns and all sorts. It's been quite surreal, but also a massive, massive moment for a magazine fan such as myself.
Yeah, I used to buy Amiga Format when I didn't have an Amiga, because I was desperate for an Amiga. And I used to buy the magazine and collect all the discs that came with it, hoping that I would get an Amiga one Christmas. As you know, I would constantly just leave the Argos catalogue out with the Amiga on display. Or whenever I was in Curry's or Dixon's with my dad, I'd be like, "Have you seen this? Have you seen Shadow of the Beast?"
Yeah, have you seen Deluxe
Look at it.
Paint? It's serious stuff as well. You know, it's got this, it's got that, it's got word
Yeah.
processing, and I think that's just it with Amiga Format because it covered everything, and some of those issues were proper chunky.
Yeah,
There's
well, I
one I saw
remember.
from '92. It had about 250 pages. You know,
Wow. I remember one of the issues which really got me excited about getting Amiga was about music creation
yeah,
through the Amiga, and that was something for me because I've always been heavily into music and like playing instruments and things like that. I made the current theme tunes for the show myself, because I love music, and that was another thing for me that really got me excited because I remember there was a keyboard thing that was advertised in, I think it was Total for the NES,
yeah. The
and I don't think that
Miracle
ever came
piano.
out.
It may have done in another country. I never saw it over here, but I do
No.
remember
But I was
seeing
desperate to
that.
get that as well, because I was like, "Oh my God, I need that," even though I had a keyboard. I was just like, "I really want one to plug into my NES for some reason."
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's
anyway,
different
so
now.
it was. So Amiga, that's what we're here to talk about, not the Nintendo Entertainment System and its keyboard. So the original Amiga first launched in 1995, July in America. The date for the UK is sketchy at best. like most things, finding the UK date is really, really hard. So the first model that came out was the Amiga 1000. And that was, we're not going to go into like the tech specs on this episode. If you want to listen to tech spec ones, listen into part 2, which will have people who are way better informed than I to be able to talk about that. So
Me.
this one is more of a nostalgic trip one. The next one is going to be the one where we actually talk about the nitty gritty of it, and I can't wait to listen in to that one. I will be on it, but I will just mostly be listening.
I said this is going to be the fun one.
Yeah, the next one will be a TED talk. But yes, but I think the Amiga version that we all remember the most fondly would be the 500.
Yes,
I
that's the first time I saw one.
My first one was a 600, so I was a bit later. But the first one I ever saw was the 500, and I think that would have been in about 98 when I saw that one. Not 98, 88, sorry.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think it would have been about then, and I lusted after it from that day on, really. And it was running Shadow of the Beast in Dixon's that I saw it, and I was like, oh my God.
See, I always forget that it first came out with like half a meg of RAM.
Yeah.
Because by 89, 90, everyone's like going, oh yeah, this A500 now has got a RAM upgrade. So it's now got 1 meg of RAM. So obviously you can get more power from your machine. And I was 10 the first time I saw the Amiga 500 because my mate got the I think it's called Screen Gems. It had Nightbreed with it and Back to the Future 2 and obviously deluxe paint and things because all these bundles always came with a couple of serious programs and a couple of games. But the first time I saw one, I had my Atari ST at the time because that's the route that I went down. Thanks to my mum and my granddad, which I was happy with because for a couple of years it was just as popular up until about 91. But yeah, with the Amiga, it was just like, oh my God, look at the graphics it can do and things like that. I remember seeing like Nightbreed, and even though it's an awful game, and because I was like interested in horror films as well, even though I was way too young to be watching them legally. I was just like, this is absolutely fantastic. And, like I said, most friends had 8-bit computers as well. And apart from this guy who was called Stuart Carrison, so I went to school with him. And there was me with my ST, a guy called Ben across the road who also had an ST, and then Stuart with his Amiga. No one else had a 16-bit computer in '89. It took I'd say another year, maybe 2, before everyone had fully left the 8 bits behind. So to see what the Amiga could do was really, really impressive because there's some things that the sound on some games was better on the Amiga than the ST. I didn't really notice it then, but as I've spent more time working on Amiga Addict Mag, I'm just going, doing reviews or look backs, and I'm going, oh, okay, I love this music. I'll see what it sounded like on the ST, and I go, oh my God, why? Again, I've learnt more on the technical side, enough to, learn a lot more than what I knew 5 years ago. And obviously, it's like hearing all how much time and effort and skill went into the Amiga. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it is. It's incredible. And I remember used to watching on like Games Master and Bad Influence. They'd have little sections as well where there'd be some people doing some weird and wacky stuff with the Amiga that you
Yeah, I
just wouldn't
mean,
expect.
my big first memory probably after that was when they did the it was in time for Christmas and they did the Cartoon Classics pack, and I remember the advert because every time I hear the track Zoe Sunshine on a Rainy Day,
Yes.
if I'm playing my 90s dance mixes, it always makes me think of that because you can still watch the advert on YouTube and everything,
Someone
and
didn't
it's just
listen to
showing
the
it.
last episode he was on.
Yes, I wonder why. I hate listening to myself
Uh,
back. Did you put it in?
um, I did. I did put that advert in. Yeah.
Hey!
Yeah.
But no, I really, really love that advert because it's to see a kid and it's showing all this colour coming out of your screen. Obviously, that came with like Bart versus the Space Mutants. It came with Captain Planet, which I know isn't a great game, but it is colourful. And then again, deluxe paint and things.
That had
But
like
one of
a
like, go on.
red and white sort of checkered box, didn't it?
I
That
can't
pack.
recall. No, yeah, the cartoon classics, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, around this time as well, you've also got like Lemmings as well, which obviously was like one of the killer apps for Amiga. I know it came out on every single system, but the Amiga was like, a fantastic, and the ST on that, to be fair. But it's like where it felt like at home,
Yeah.
and it's fantastic.
Well, yeah, mouse controls
Yeah,
for
oh, it damn
Lemmings
right.
is
Yeah.
vital. And I will say as well, there's a touch version on Vita, which actually is better than playing with buttons as well. Because obviously it translates better to a touch and mouse than it does to control pad.
Oh, yeah,
Lemmings. Like
100%.
so much better. But yeah, what was so when did you first get your Amiga?
I was really, really late because I went from VST to SNES and then to the A1200. So I only
Oh,
actually got mine in 1994 and I only kept it for about 18 months to 2 years max. And the only reason I got rid of it is because we had a PC by late 95. But it it may have been, yeah, it must have been for Christmas 94 because we got it out of Loot. And if anyone remembers Loot, it was a free ads paper. And I've mentioned this quite a few times on podcasts and stuff, but it's when you used to have to ring people up in the morning and say, "Hi, all right, have you still got a computer you're selling? Um, I'll come round and get it in the next hour," and it was like a mad dash to get it was oh God, what was it called? The desktop dynamite bundle
hmm.
for the A1200. It wasn't. I can't remember if it was officially boxed, but it still had all the original um, manuals and the discs that came with it and things. And I mainly wanted an Amiga because, and I still stand by this now, that machine has got some amazing games for every genre that's out there. Point and click
Yeah.
adventures, sport games, still a couple of okay ones for fighting. That's probably its weakest
But
area.
the fighting
But
games, the ones that are good on it are like Body Blows and stuff. Like
yeah,
whereas where you've got like Street Fighter 2 and Mortal Kombat are terrible.
yeah, but
Like
Super
especially
Street Fighter
Street
2
Fighter 2.
improved it a little bit because you could use a CD32 pad. Um,
Yes.
but it's still like it was quite obviously a late one because that was like by 1995 when people are really moving away from the Amiga.
Yeah.
So I'm jumping around a little bit, but it was things like obviously the football management side, which I know you had games, you had consoles, but on my Super Nintendo, my football manager football management option was Kevin Keegan.
Yeah.
Whereas the Amiga
Premier
had
Manager,
Premier
Kevin Keegan's
Manager.
Premier Manager. Yeah.
It also had oh, what else? Obviously Champ Manager. It had Ultimate Soccer Manager by I think end of 1994, maybe start of
There was
95.
one that my friend had on the A1200, which had like you could do the stadiums and stuff as well.
That's Ultimate Soccer
Is
Manager.
that Ultimate Soccer
Yeah.
Manager? Right.
It they
Yeah,
only
because
did. We did
we
one on
hated it.
Amiga. Really? That's quite good because
Yeah.
you could give bungs and you could also
All right,
you'd
George
have to be
Graham.
trying to
It's
get.
amazing.
I know. You also could, sort of like bribe journalists and things like that. It was like quite different to what you could do with Champ. And
Yeah,
bearing in
you
mind,
see,
Champ
I
had only had a
dislike the
few.
purity of Championship Manager. I think that's why me and my friend didn't gel with it.
Right. Okay.
Just because it didn't have that purity of Champ Manager. Yeah, so that's
No,
probably
no. I
why.
think I get it. I mean, the thing is with Champ Manager, not the original one because that was still made up names, but by the second one, the 93-94 end of season, that had the proper player names. It followed all the rules that the English leagues had. You eventually got Champ Manager Italia, which was absolutely huge because back in '94, Italian football we still had
Yeah. You see, for
the
me, that was the
go on.
one, right? I mean, I played so much of 93, 94 with my friend.
Yeah,
And we would play every Saturday after we'd do our paper round. We'd go round to his house, and we would then spend the rest of the day playing Champ Manager 93, 94, listening to the football on Five Live.
yeah.
And yeah, and that was just heaven. As you know, as a teenager.
It's
But
great.
Champ
No, no,
Italia
yeah.
was the one for
Oh,
me because I was so into Football Italia and watching the Italian football. I loved it. I was so in love with Milan during the time
that
as
was your
well.
Sunday. That was your
Yeah.
Sunday morning
Well,
slash
Saturday
dinner
you had
time
the
sorted.
Gazzetta.
Oh
Well,
God, yeah,
Saturday you had
yeah.
Gazzetta. So we would, yeah. So me and my friend would watch Gazzetta on the other TV while playing Championship Manager.
You can just do
Um,
so much back then for
yeah.
football.
Oh, it was so good. And like playing Champ Manager Italia, that for me was the one where I was thinking I'm so much better than everyone else. Like because I'm playing the sophisticated Italian league. Ooh la la. Oh, that's French, but you know what I mean. Um, it was yeah, I felt like I was the dog's bollocks, as most people would say at that point in time. But yeah, and it was brilliant. And because you would be getting like finding players you'd never heard of, like
Oh
from
yeah.
Serie B and stuff like that, like young players in Serie B, bringing them up into Serie A. And yeah, oh, it was just incredible. And you could play, you had Paolo Maldini in your Milan team, and it was like, oh, it was it was heaven. Or
No, no, no.
not
I'm with
Caserta.
you. I'm with you on
Yeah,
that. And again, because obviously it was the opposite to the
Baresi was
English
the
one.
player I was going to mention. Sorry. Yeah,
Well, but the
yeah, and
thing
it
is,
was
like,
so,
when you played the English one, you'd have, say, the main Italian teams. But when you play
yeah,
the Champ Manager Italia and you look at the English leagues, it wouldn't be showing, say, divisions 1, 2, and 3 back then. It'd
yeah,
just be like Premier League, So then you could say, still try and get, say, Tony Adams or something like that.
yeah.
But you wouldn't be able to find, say, someone from Millwall, or anything like that if you
No.
wanted to,
But I
you
didn't
know.
really like going to the English leagues for players because I was like, the English league players are crap back then. There was very few foreign players in the Premier League. Really, the most that we had were like Scandinavian players. There wasn't a massive amount that were in the Premier League in when Champ Italia came out.
No,
So
no, that's true because again, you still had Gascoigne and Platt over in Italy,
yeah,
so you'd always
yeah.
be you'd be waiting if you're playing the English one to get them, or you'd be like, case of right, I'm going to get Alan Shearer, um,
One player
over
I
to
did sign for Milan.
Italy.
One player I did sign for Milan was Pep Guardiola or Josep Guardiola, given his name on Champ Italia, because he was one of those players you could find on the foreign market, and he was
The
quite cheap
foreign
as well and
market.
young. I think he was like 21 or something at the time, and you could sign him for peanuts from Barca. And yeah, I was just like, oh my God, this young player, he's going to be good. Little did you know back then that he was going to turn into one of the greatest managers of all time. But yeah, it was just so good to play that game, and just the hours I lost to Champ Italia. And this is someone who loves normal Championship Manager, right? But Champ Italia, like I was saying, I was able to have George Weah in my team. You know,
Yeah, which is
how amazing is that?
absolutely
You know?
amazing. I know.
Oh, it was so good. I loved every second of playing Champ Italia. The only time that it got the only thing that I would say is like when you got to like season 5 or 6 and players started aging out. Because I mean, you lost Baresi after like 2 seasons because he was
Yeah,
really ancient anyway.
yeah, it was
But yeah,
ancient then.
but there was Lentini, right? So he's injured when you start the game,
Was it with the one
and
who's a broken leg or something? I remember someone
yeah,
who'd
he's in
been
a
in a
car
car crash in
crash.
real life.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. How do you
uh,
remember stuff like that?
oh mate,
Was he at
I
Lazio?
no,
No.
he was at Milan
Right,
because
okay.
Milan broke the world transfer record for him, and then he ended up getting in a car crash not long after joining or something. I can't remember the exact details, but I remember in the game you get in and he's there injured, and you're like, I was hoping that he wouldn't be injured, so I could just see how good he is. And then after like 2 seasons, he retires due to injury, and you're like, oh my god, he hasn't even played.
Yeah.
But then you can play it another time, and then he does recover from his injury and plays really well for you. But then, like, it isn't a preordained thing that happens in the game as well, which is fantastic, And this is going back like nearly 30 years or over 30 years, and it was doing stuff like that. So it's so good. Oh, I
So
love it. Oh,
let's
I'm
move
going to
away from
download it.
Champ Manager.
Let's move away
because
from Champ
otherwise-
Italia, because I could
Yes.
do a podcast about Champ Italia, just going through one of my greatest
One thing I will
seasons.
say, will quickly say this: for an episode, for an issue of the one Amiga in 1994, because it was obviously leading up to World Cup '94. They gave away Champ Manager Italia as a cover disc, and you'd be like going,
Oh,
"What a free gift!"
that's the greatest free gift since someone gave away Christmas nights into Dreams. Oh, actually,
I
that was
know.
before. So actually, that was the best one ever at that point. So for me, I got mine later. So I got, like I say, I got 600, and I didn't get mine until 1994 when I started doing my GCSEs, because I convinced my dad in the end that I did need to have a computer to help me in my GCSEs. And I said, it's gonna, because I'm doing music for GCSE, Dad, as well, and this thing I can be able to do some music stuff on it as well. And my dad was like, okay, but we can't. We won't be able to get you like the latest one, which was the 1200, the one I wanted. So we were walking around this place in Petersfield. Oh, I can't even remember the name of the electronic shop, but it was an older electronic shop, run by like an old man. Who, and you'd go there to buy your plugs and things like that as well. So it was like a proper electronic shop, and he would do like TV repairs and stuff like that. And in the back, I could see the side of this box, and it had the little ant from Pushover on.
Yes.
And I was like,
yeah.
oh my god, that's an Amiga, to my dad. And he was like, oh, how much is your computer thing back there? Because my dad didn't know the name. I couldn't say
Yeah.
it.
How was that computer thing?
And he was like, oh, I've had it here years. Because this was 94, and it was the
Yeah, it was
Amiga
about 2 years
600.
old by then.
Yeah, so it was the Wild, the Weird, and the Wicked pack
Yes. I
that
remember
we
that in
got.
magazines.
Yeah, so from what I remember, so we got Grand Prix, Silly Putty, Pushover, and Deluxe Paint 3 with it.
That's not a
And
bad bundle, because Pushover is a really
Pushover
good
was
game.
quite good. I really
Yeah.
liked Pushover. I thought it was brilliant. But I spent most of my time playing Grand Prix, as I was a massive like F1 fan at that point. And yeah, so we got home. My dad ended up playing a lot of the Grand Prix game as well. And then the Amiga ended up staying at my dad's. So I could only so I used to go see my dad every other weekend anyway. So I would then do any homework that needed to be done. My dad would say, oh, you can go and do like homework and stuff. And I'd be like, okay, I wouldn't do any homework whatsoever. I would literally be playing like Grand Prix or Champ Italia and stuff like that. So I didn't actually have it at my mum's. I had it at my dad's, because my dad, I think he then found like golf games and stuff on it as well. So he was buying a lot of stuff like that, and he loved the dice pinball games, Pinball Dreams, Pinball Fantasies.
Yeah. It's still crazy, isn't it? Like how obviously they were Houston, and then 21st Century Entertainment. But yeah, it's those pinball games were just immense, and even now they're still good to play. Like just everything just works.
Yeah, they
really
released
well.
them as PlayStation Minis, like back on the PSP,
Okay, wow. Okay,
which was pretty cool.
yeah.
So I
God, I always
remember
forget about them PlayStation Minis.
oh mate, there's some absolutely bangers on there. It's like Speedball 2's on there as well as a mini. But yeah, and that was like my dad was absolutely obsessed with playing the pinball games and the golf games and Grand Prix. Micropose Grand Prix, that was it. So I was trying to think of the company name before before Grand Prix. I could not think of it until just then it hit me. But yeah, so that's how we ended up getting an Amiga. I think my brother had given up going to my dad's. Right,
Yeah.
he refused to go to my dad's, so he never got to play on it. Right, so I was like, "Why don't you come and play on the computer at dad's?" And he was like, "No." I was like, oh, it's got Championship Manager. It's like, you'll love it.
So
It's so good. You sit there and you watch stuff happen. It's brilliant. Yeah, and then my dad bought us Christmas Lemmings
yes,
one year.
yeah, because that came out quite soon after the original Lemmings.
Yeah,
Because you had the Oh No More Lemmings, and I'm sure that like Christmas one followed more or less straight after. But again, people wanted more Lemmings. They were really, really good
isn't there a
games.
sequel
Although
called Oh
still
No
there were
More
tribes.
Lemmings? Isn't there one
It's
called
what?
Oh No
Sorry.
More Lemmings?
Yeah,
Isn't there one
yeah.
called
Oh No More Lemmings
More
was a
Lemmings?
sequel.
Yeah,
Then
yeah.
you had Christmas/Holiday, and then
And
they
then you had
also
Lemmings
did
2, The Tribes, wasn't it?
yeah, and then they also did another one more in 3D, but it wasn't very good. I'm sure it was called
There was a Lemmings
World of
3D
Lemmings
on
or something. No, there wasn't Lemmings
PlayStation.
3D on PS1, but there was another Amiga one. Um, but it's not very very good. Um, yeah, it's sort of makes me feel a bit sad. Um, I just can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. But anyway, it'll come to me at some point today.
No, that's good. My dad was the one who got me into point and click adventure games as well. Because
Yep,
I bought Maniac Mansion on the NES, right? And I didn't really get it. I think I was too young. But then my dad bought Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, and I
that's
played
really good.
that. And I played that, and I was like, "Oh my God, these games are incredible. What else have these people done?" And then obviously I was then introduced to Secret of Monkey Island and Monkey Island 2. So yeah, it was just an avalanche after that of just point and click adventure games that I just adored. But we can get into that when we talk more about the games.
Yes.
So one of my next points is the why was the Amiga so popular here? And the reason I'll say here, specifically the UK, is the sales figures for the Amiga in general. The biggest selling version of it is the Amiga 500. Like it's
Hmm.
just hands down one of this. I think it accounts for like 70% of all Amigas sold, which is huge. But there's only between 4 and 5 million. There isn't a definitive number of how many there were sold. So it's between 4 and 5 million units sold, right? It seemed so much more popular, but that's because in the UK and Germany, so the UK and Germany account for
Yeah.
nearly 3 million of those between those
Yeah.
two countries, which is insane, which is why I assumed like it was like the biggest thing in the world because everyone I knew had an Amiga. Yeah, there was the
Um.
odd kid who had an ST, right?
No, no, no.
A
I
few
had
of
the
the odd,
ST,
but
but the thing is, the Amiga knew how to be marketed, and because again, remember when the Amiga 500 came out and became commercially popular,
yeah.
by the Batman pack, the other various packs
Oh
that they've
man, the
added,
Batman pack.
yeah,
Oh,
exactly. I'm not even
I used
mentioning
to
that up
look at
until
that
then.
in the shop and in the Argos catalogue and just be like, I want it so
It's
bad.
Batman because even though that game came out on other computers and things, you've got to remember the only consoles that we had over here really that were people owned were the NES and the Master System. The Mega Drive was only just on the cusp of coming out over here. Even if
Mm,
you'd imported it, you'd be looking at like 1990, really.
yeah.
Maybe late 89 at a push. But the thing is, people would be like, well, up until recently, we're wowed by graphics. It's always, oh my God, that looks amazing. So again, showing Shadow of a Beast, which isn't a great game, but also seeing things like deluxe paint and what the Amiga can do other than just games. They can also do word processing. You can also do things with music on it as well. It was like a serious machine that just happened to obviously play games as well.
Well, I think
And again,
also the other thing as well over here is that it had a lot of British support, right? In
oh, for
terms of
100%, yeah, Yeah.
in terms of development. You look at like Team 17 and and then you've got publishers like Domark and Ocean. They're all British based.
Gremlin.
Gremlin.
Yeah. You had people like Rainbird. You
And
had
Bullfrog and stuff like that.
yeah,
All these
yeah.
people making great games for the
Psygnosis.
system. Yeah,
Yeah,
Psygnosis.
yeah.
Yeah,
DMA Design, obviously, we just mentioned Lemmings
yeah,
and
with
things.
Lemmings.
Sensible as well.
Sensible Software with their
There's
amazing catalog.
loads.
Yeah, and that to me is like it had a, like I was saying I said on the PlayStation podcast, the PlayStation had a very in Britain it had a very British identity due
Yeah,
to all of these British studios and these games that were very much part of our culture, and
and
that's
they were
how
still around. They were still
yeah,
around then. So you still had Ocean, you still had Gremlin, you still had Psygnosis, who'd been around
13,
since the
17 and yeah,
80s and 90s. Yeah, and they were still putting out things like, I know we're jumping on PS1 for a minute, but Destruction Derby, you had things like Wipeout, you had stuff like Actua Soccer, you had, Ocean titles and things. And, there were names that you grew up with. So it felt like, as someone who lived in England or UK, you were used to seeing these names and you understood some of the time that you'd always get, good quality and
never
things
with
like that.
Ocean.
No, that's a bit unfair. Some were good, some were not
Name
as well.
6.
Name 6 what good ones?
Yeah.
Batman, Untouchables, RoboCop.
Which version
I
of
will.
RoboCop? Because there's like one good version of
Yeah,
RoboCop.
no. Well, again, but any of them are actually all right. To be
No,
fair,
they're not.
the original RoboCop, Jurassic Park is quite
That's
good.
terrible.
It's not
No,
terrible.
it's awful.
It's quite good. Anyway, that's about 5 off the top of my
Like,
head.
right, okay.
But then also they put out. I think they put out Mr. Nuts on the Amiga. That was okay. I
Mr.
know it
Nuts
was on
is actually
SNES.
quite cool. Yeah, I played that on SNES, but it was actually quite fun. I quite enjoyed Mr. Nuts.
It's a bit different on the Amiga.
Is it?
Mm.
How so? You can't just say it's a bit different and then not tell me what
No,
it is.
no. It's different level designs as well and
Ah,
things like
okay.
that. Yeah, yeah.
But I guess it's got to tailor to different people, right? Because I remember it being bitchingly easy on SNES. So
It's been a while since I played it. But anyway,
yeah.
anyway,
So I
yeah,
guess that's probably why it ended up being so popular here, because it was very much based on the games that were coming were very much based on our culture. Like Lemmings was funny and stupid, right? You were trying to stop lemmings killing themselves. Their whole purpose is to kill themselves, and you are stopping it, and it's fun. You've got these wacky little voices, and you're doing these destructive things with them. Or you've got worms, again, worms with just ridiculous concept, right?
there you
But
go.
it's
An
such a
Ocean
British
title, well, published by Ocean.
published, made by Team 17. Well,
Yeah.
made by what's his face? It was one person, wasn't it, originally, who won the
Yes, yeah.
competition?
Andy Davison.
Yes, that's it.
Yes.
Thank you. Could not remember his name. Sorry, Andy Davison.
It'd be bad if I forgot him due to that with mates,
Yeah, that would be really bad. But yeah, and yeah, I think that's probably why, because it had that whole British style humour to a lot of these things. Simon the Sorcerer, again, another game that was sold
Yes.
predominantly because of how British it was.
Mm. And
Um,
obviously Chris Barry voicing him
Chris
as well.
Barry, yeah.
So masterstroke there. But then again, we're talking about why is it popular in Germany as well? I don't know how it was obviously marketed in Germany, but bearing in mind you have the massive event Amiga Germany. They've just had Amiga 40 in Germany. You have Amiga Future magazine, again a German print mag as well. You get quite a few games released as well from Germany. And it just seems to be, like that hub, more or less, still of the UK and Germany. Although this year America have done quite a bit to celebrate it with some talks as well and things like that, and a few
I'm sure
events.
the 7 people turned up to listen to that sort of stuff over there, because it just didn't do anything in America, despite being an American based company. Commodore being the American based company, just not It just didn't take a foothold. It's all the same with the Commodore 64. The Commodore 64 didn't really do anything in America, but over here and Germany as well, it was crazily big.
I think though in America, you obviously had a lot more emphasis on the game's consoles as well.
Mm.
Because obviously the NES was huge over there. And I think obviously because they had the the computing crash over there. I think that maybe of just saying people gone, oh right, okay, well the Nintendo's different. Like how that was
Well,
marketed.
I think
The
the other
NES.
thing as well is that the Americans never really they didn't have microcomputers the way that we did,
No,
you know.
no, no, no.
I mean,
Well,
they
yeah,
did
not
have
not the
them.
same.
They
Yeah,
did
but
have them.
not the same sort of scene.
Yeah, they didn't, we had when their industry was crashing, ours was booming in the UK with the ZX Spectrum, you know. We were
Yeah.
the ZX Spectrum was out, it was doing really well. The BBC Micro was out doing really well, like every school had a BBC Micro.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, it was this thing, wasn't it? We were conditioned to play video games on a computer. The console was the thing that took a while to really take a foothold over here. It wasn't until the PlayStation that consoles were really that popular. You can say Mega Drive was popular, but it wasn't as I do not believe for one second it sold as well as the Amiga did over here. Like,
I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure because, again, um, I think still more people, like you say, did have computers. That again, the guy I mentioned, Ben, who lived across the road, he never went down. Oh no, he did have a SNES, but he still kept his Amiga as well. He had an
yeah,
Amiga and a
I've
SNES.
got friends
You
who
know.
have been gaming their whole life. They don't call themselves
Hmm.
gamers because they only game on computers.
See, that's just odd, isn't it? It really,
Yeah,
really is.
they're like,
You
oh,
know.
I don't play video games. I play, I play games, and I'm like, right, still a video game. But they
Yeah.
don't play stuff.
Yeah.
They don't really play the stuff like Call of Duty and things like that. They'll play things like Total War and Civilization. The more strategic games and stuff. Whereas they don't really play that. The sort of stuff we do. Um, but I do play those as well. I love Total War. It's one of my favorite series. But yeah, it's that's probably why over here that the Amiga really did take a foothold, just because we had grown up on the microcomputers in this country, and it was just the natural progressor. Plus, it came out, in like the late 80s as well, so it's going to have that foothold. And then you're getting all this support from the young indie developers as well, and that being an actual scene on the Amiga in this country, which is insane. You'd get like games on cover discs of magazines that a single person had made in their bedroom.
Yeah.
You
No,
weren't
no,
getting
of course.
anything like that on console. It was brilliant.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to think. Even the early days of console, you just can't. I mean, nowadays people can obviously do homebrew console games, but think how long that's taken. So many people like One Man and His Dog doing new NES games or anything like that, and Game Boy games. But you think how many years that's taken?
Yeah.
Because
Whereas the Amiga
by
support has never dried up. Like there's always been people making Amiga games.
yeah, well, really that takes on to things like that homebrew scene and like when we launched Amiga Addict, I joined on issue 3 officially, and I was like, "This isn't gonna last that long, We'll just do a few issues." Bear in mind now we've done 40, and I was like, "Oh wow, people are making new games." Now, obviously, some of these people are making these in the spare time. So there's like still waiting for this scroll and beat 'em up called Metro Siege.
That
That
looks so
looks
good.
absolutely brilliant.
It's so
Yeah,
good.
yeah. And I just keep hoping this year, please, this year. Um, there's one called Roguecraft, which came out last year, which is also now out on the Evercade, and it's coming to consoles as well. And that's
Yeah,
like
I've got the
it's a
Evercade.
little bit like Hero Quest type thing.
Yeah, I love that
Um,
game. It's brilliant.
yeah,
I
yeah. So I've spoke to the people that made that, and they're like absolutely, lovely guys. Badger Punch, they called. And then you've also got, oh God, I can't think of the net guy's name, what his real name is, but it's JOTD. and he does like a load of arcade conversions, updated ones. So like just simple things
And
like
then
Ms. Pac-Man and things like that.
wasn't there a more recent update to Outrun on the Amiga recently?
Yes, yeah, that's been over summer as well. There's been an update to Final Fight because the original one was not very good. So they've given it an expanded color palette. They
Yeah,
put
because it was so
Maki in
drab.
from Final Fight 2 as well. And yeah, they really, really turned that round. And then again, just stuff like we've just had Settlers 2, which is obviously coming in VA 1200 mini, well, VA 1200, sorry, from Retro Games Limited. It's not a mini at all, it's full size. But no, so Settlers 2 has obviously come out that you can buy separate as well. That came out a few weeks ago. You've also got every month there's probably another 3 or 4 games, maybe even more than that. You know, I'm just trying to think what else has come out. Oh yeah, you've got Stu Cambridge and Tony Warrener. They're working on Urbex Warriors for the Spectrum Next, but then they're working on an Amiga version. And last weekend they were
Oh,
showing
cool.
that off. Yeah, it's good. You know, they don't like it when I say it reminds me of Zombies Ate My Neighbours because they'd never played that game. But no, it's a bit like that and Gauntlet. But then again, it
Any game
smashed
that's
its
like Gauntlet,
Kickstarter.
any
It's
game like
good,
Gauntlet's
so
for
I'm
me.
looking forward to that getting an Amiga release as well. Although I did back the Kickstarter as well. So yeah, there's been so many. There's been, like I say, updates for games. There's been new titles. There's been Fast Food 2, the Dizzy game.
Mm.
Like we had that on the cover. You've had so many people now are making games again for the Amiga. It's we're getting new Amiga hardware, new full price Amiga titles, budget titles. We're getting pay as you feel titles. The software scene is more or less where it was back in like 1995. Where you get some big titles and then you also get a few smaller ones. But also the amount of people out there who are talented who are making actual like hardware or add-ons for the Amiga and stuff like that. So there's a guy called Dominic, Digital Retro Bay is called, and he is like maybe it's like little dongle type thing,
Mm.
so you can choose ADF files or keep your actual disk drive in your Amiga, and it just threads through the casing slits on top, and then
Mm.
obviously you've got like a little digital display telling you what ADF file you're choosing. So there's people who can actually mod your Amiga by taking out the disk drive, or you can have it in there because obviously this is 30 odd year old hardware. You've got people who are making replacement cases, replacement motherboards, even replica boxes for things like cartoon classics. If you want to, if you buy an unboxed Amiga, you can, get a reprinted box for it. You know, there's so much stuff out there. It's amazing. And like I said, when I started on Amiga Addict, I didn't think any of this would be you know, taking us to the end of 2025, and then already we go, oh God, we've got so much stuff for 2026 in the pipeline. You know,
Well, this is the thing.
it's great.
It's got this loving community, which is
Mm.
fantastic. And I've been onto some of their sites, and they don't seem too hostile, unlike Amiga, unlike Atari Age forums and stuff like that, where they can be quite hostile. But yeah, I'm so excited for the future of Amiga as well as I am for celebrating the past. Like I say,
Yes.
when I said last time when we were talking about the A1200, like the main reason I'm looking forward to it is having like the hardware so that I can buy these games and then put them onto my system. These new games that are coming out. This is what I want to do. You know, I want to be able to support these guys, buy their games, put them onto the hardware that it was intended to be on. I know it's not the
Mhm.
exact hardware; it's just like a Raspberry Pi in a box, but it's got it's got the look of the Amiga. It's going to feel like I'm playing on an Amiga more than it would if I just put an emulator onto my PC.
No,
You know?
100%, 100%. And I think this is just it. This is one reason why I do like these machines. So, like when I bought the Spectrum, I could say go into itch.io and buy someone's game and then put it on the SD card and play it on there. And it'll be the same with this. So, granted, I wouldn't be able to say buy a boxed copy of the game.
Yeah,
But if it's a download for it, I can just get the download code and, they get a bit of money for it. And also, it might just obviously keep them going as well, on this sort of like homebrew scene.
yeah,
Because again, I never thought we'd be back to having so many games released for it. But then I suppose there's people now, you've got a few of the, we'll say, veterans like Tony and Stu. And then you've got, say, Simon Butler has done a game for the Spectrum Next called O, which is like an old school 8-bit platformer type thing, quite solid as well, like getting through one screen and through all the traps and stuff and then getting to the next screen and whatever. But on his latest podcast, he was talking about maybe bringing that to the Amiga because it fit in well as well. So we're at that stage as well where quite a few games can be, converted to the Amiga system as well. And then, like you say, I think this A1200 is probably all you're going to need. You've had other Amiga models made as well by different companies. Because you've got Ravi from the Retro Hour and also the Mag. He's done his Kickstart Amiga events, and he didn't do one this year, but he's done one for the last 2 years, and it's back next year over in Derby.
yeah.
And what he does is, it was a 2-day event, and the first year we walked in to get our stall set up for the magazines, and you had all sorts of stalls there. You had someone who could repair discs. You had someone, like people showing off the games that they're making, music that they're making. At night, you had DJs using the Amiga for music as well. And it was like, I can't believe we're in the 2020s, well, 2023 at the time. And you went, my God, this is amazing. And it was missed this year, but obviously you've had Amiga 40. And when I've seen the videos and you're just going, you've got a hall full of people, all these different companies showing their wares. It's just, I never thought it'd happen, because you have a look at things like the ST news, and every so often, we share obviously in Pixel Addict Atari news and stuff, but there's never as much, not for the
Well, that,
Atari ST so much.
but like I say, in the UK, well, in Europe, let's say, because we've got to include Germany in this as well in this conversation. But because it was so popular then, and you've got to remember that these people who are growing up with that are our age. They've had all these years of being able to hone their craft on this
Yeah,
platform, and that's what makes it
yeah,
so long. That's what gives it the longevity, right? So, yeah. So that actually did cover the entire section that I was going to talk about with the homebrew scene
homebrew.
without even leading into it. So fantastic! Thank you, Paul, for
There's
that
there's
one.
a, there's a lot. I'm also just going to give a quick shout out to obviously you've got Chris Wilkins as well with his Zap Amiga magazine as well. That's been going for a
I
few
didn't know
years.
that
So
was a thing.
yeah, it's
Huh?
basically like under the Zap banner. But the
Yeah,
thing is, you have and you've got
because I get
obviously
the
Amiga Future as well.
I get I get the Zap annual every year,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
didn't realise there was an Amiga.
Well, you also get as well. Obviously, Retro Gamer seem to be obviously covering a bit more Amiga stuff as well.
Yeah,
And I think if you asked Darren Jones, I think he'd be surprised how much love there's been for it and demand. Because when I listened to a podcast with him on Retro Asylum recently, and he was like saying, "Oh, now we're covering say Xbox 360 because it's 20 years ago now."
mm.
Um, you know, because obviously Mega Drive and SNES and Spectrum stuff's been covered so much, but then there's still demand for Amiga things, So there's quite a lot of Amiga content in there as
Well, like
well
I say,
now.
the Amiga is our NES, right, in terms of its penetration into the culture. I'd say, like in America, there's still so much nostalgia for the NES, right, which we never had that nostalgia for the NES. So for over here, we don't notice anything that goes on like that. But we have all this nostalgia for the Amiga because it was so ubiquitous with us growing up and throughout the 90s. It's why it's just not going to go away. That's why our nostalgia is for that more than anything else in that period. We don't have the same nostalgia for the Mega Drive. We don't have the same nostalgia for the Super Nintendo, simply because it wasn't as ubiquitous, as I was saying, as the Amiga.
No,
Amiga was just
it's
everywhere.
yeah, no, and again, I think that's what comes down to what I said earlier. It's got something for everyone. It's got
Yeah,
something for everyone.
it
And
does. We
even
will
though
go
I love the
into
Super
those
Nintendo,
games.
yeah, we'll go
Yeah.
into that. But like, even though I love the SNES, and that's my favorite machine, I've still got probably more fond Amiga memories. Which
Yeah,
says it all.
yeah. I know what
Like
you mean. Yeah.
key gaming memories, I'd say key gaming memories from the Amiga than the
Yeah,
SD. Sorry, than the SNES.
that's the same for me. I mean, it's exactly the same for me. I have really great memories of playing on the Amiga,
Mm,
but mostly it was like having playing it with my friends, or my dad. Playing pinball with my dad and beating his score and him getting all arsey,
yeah,
that sort of stuff. Or me having to pause beneath the still sky and going to my dad and going, I really need your help with this puzzle.
yeah,
I
yeah.
really don't know how to get through this. And then my dad coming in and us sitting there for hours trying to figure out one solution, and then it being something really obtuse. Um, but we couldn't look it up on the internet, so it was literally like,
No,
oh, you
no, you
have
had to
to,
wait for the magazines and hope that they'd done a guide.
yeah. So yeah, I think that's probably where
Let's
the
talk
nostalgia comes
games.
from. Let's do that in a minute. First of all, let's go on to our feedback from the users. We'll go first to our Discord, where madsty.com, who has the excellent Blue Sky about old game mags that you should check out, where he posts up lots of old game mag stuff on there. It's really good.
Who's
Um,
interested in that?
I am.
Right.
I look at it every day when he posts. So he says, I got my Amiga 1200 for Christmas 1992. Ooh la la! Someone was flush. Following the UK release in October, was only 30,000 units or so available pre-Christmas. So my mother was ringing every mail order company in the UK to find one. So mail order companies, for those who don't know or who are too young to know what they are, in magazines and things like that, you would have these places like Special Reserve and things, where you could
Silica.
buy things. You would phone up and buy things from. Yes,
Mm,
Silica. That's another one. Yeah. So
yes.
I said, where were we? Mail order company. Yeah. I was so desperate for an Amiga, I asked for a 600 instead. My mother refused, saying I will have a 1200, but might be after Christmas. After about a week of phone calls, she managed to get one with Indy 500 and the cool Croc twins ready for Christmas. Also had Lotus and Street Fighter 2 for Christmas presents, which turned out not to be 1200 compatible, so I had to wait for the new year to exchange them, which in the case of Street Fighter might have been a blessing. I also remember seeing on Father Ted them playing the Amiga version of Street Fighter 2.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's have a look at our other ones. These have come in as well. Sorry, I've got to find them. This is from someone who's just called Ben. When I was 12, I begged my parents for an Amiga. They relented when I showed them a printer and said I could do schoolwork on it. My mum also really wanted to play around with deluxe paint. We ended up buying one for me later that year. He doesn't say which model it is, though. My dad bought 100 blank floppy disks, thinking I could use them for school. I ended up using them to copy games and sell them at school, along with using mum's Polaroid camera to take pictures of the manuals for getting past the security. Um, I
Yeah,
now
this
work
seems
as a
familiar.
trade. I now work as a trader in the city and blame the Amiga for making me into an evil capitalist. I don't really game on modern consoles beyond the annual FIFA release. I still have an Amiga 1200 set up in my home office and will often play sensible World of Soccer or Cannon Fodder of an evening. So
Fair
that's very
enough.
nice from Ben, Ben the capitalist. I didn't. This is from James. Like, why don't people give their surnames? Anyway, well, no, they don't want to give their surnames, do they? Yeah.
No.
Anyway, I didn't get an Amiga as such. My dad bought me the Amiga CD32 as my introduction to both Amiga and gaming in general. So I thought Robocod, Super Frog, and Zool were the greatest games ever for years. Obviously, its life was short-lived, but it was my only console from 1994 until 2001 when I bought a PS2. Imagine my shock when a remake of my favorite
Christ.
game. Imagine my shock when a remake of my favorite game, Super Stardust, appeared on PS3. That was the reason I ended up buying a PlayStation 3 and subsequent PlayStations just for Housemarts games. Ah, he's a man after my own heart. I wish I still
Oh
had
God.
the CD32, as I have so many fond memories of my time with the console. That's lovely. This is a question from someone called Marcus. I never owned an Amiga, but I've been side-eyeing an Amiga 1200 on eBay on a regular basis. Do you think it's worth going for one in the year 2025?
I would say so. I mean, obviously now you got the A1200 coming out, which would be a cheaper alternative. But again, like we've been saying, it's almost like a no-brainer now to say yes
Mm, it is.
because
Um,
2026 is going to be popular.
yeah, so if you are looking for a console, well, not console, but a platform to be able to play these old games on, which isn't a modern PC or gaming platform, it's probably worth going down the route of trying to get an original hardware, but you'd need to get an old style TV as well, or monitor to go with it.
It's very expensive now. VA 1200 original.
It is.
You're paying about
He
four
probably
hundred
knows because
pounds.
he has been side-eyeing them,
Yeah,
as he says
yeah,
on eBay. So he probably does know the prices. So maybe that's probably not going to put him off. But
yeah.
there is stuff coming out for it. Um, if you never owned one, it might be worth, like we're saying, wait until June and go for the Amiga, the A1200,
Hmm.
which will come with quite a few good games installed, and then you can install other games as well. So if you want to go out and support these indie developers, buy their games, and then install them onto your machine, I would thoroughly recommend doing that. As probably a good entry point into it. Although you do have to deal with the CD32 pad if you want to play with the gamepad. Well, you don't really because it'll be USB, right? You can stick any old USB controller in it.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, thank you very much to everyone who wrote in. That's fantastic. So yeah, let's talk about some games then, Paul. Paul, what
Yes.
games for you really made the Amiga?
Um, the ones are still like today, so they've made quite a big impact. So one of the first ones is Lotus Turbo Challenge 2,
That's on my list
which
as well. Yeah, good
yeah,
lad.
which again was a fantastic racing game back when I used to really, really enjoy racing games. The fact, you know, a shiny Lotus car, the changing of the weather on different tracks, the night racing as well. I just thought it was because this is like one of the big Gremlin games, well, from Gremlin, and
Mm.
I just think it was absolutely brilliant. And I still play it fairly regularly now because it's on my A500 Mini. Um, and again, then I also own it for my Mega Drive as well. So it's not as good as the Amiga version, but I just think it was a great racing game. And another one while we're on racing is the Jaguar XJ220 from Core Design.
I never played that because I read a really bad review of the Mega CD version, so I didn't
Ah,
play it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But no, those two were great. On the racing stuff. I don't know how best you want to do this. I mean, I could just list off about 30 games, and scattergun approach. I mean,
So
I think back to
let's narrow it down to like 10 each. And
yeah, okay, yeah. So I'm going to go to one story which you got me a lot of games was when I used to go to bowlers. the computer fair in Manchester, Trafford Park, every Sunday it used to have the copied games man, and we robbed him blind once because he'd sell these discs of games for £1 each, and we helped ourselves to a few extras when his back was turned. There we are, just to incriminate myself there. But yeah, it's just back then you'd be like going, I would need to play every single game I can, you know.
Yeah.
So that means to play some good stuff and some not so good stuff. So, but we're here to talk about the good stuff. So, one of my favourites, and again, it was exclusive to Amiga and ST, is a game called Harlequin.
Oh,
And that's
yeah.
by Gremlin as well.
Yeah.
Brilliant platformer. Where again, you're having to go bit backwards and forwards, so a bit like Metroidvania type thing. I know that Phil
I can still see the
Hockaday
box
hates that.
art in my head
Yeah, yeah,
of the
and the
hardest.
music
Yeah.
is fantastic, done by Barry Leach.
Yeah.
Oh, another racing game as well that I love, Supercars 2. That's still fun to play. Obviously, we talked about Batman the movie. We've talked about Champ Manager, so I'm not going to go down that again.
Yeah. I'll try not
Chaos
to.
Engine, I enjoy, although I'm not very good at it. You know, I can get up to like the second world and then just usually end up dying and being overrun by
It's
monsters.
really
Um,
hard.
yeah,
So's Chaos Engine 2. They are both really hard
God.
games.
Yes. Speedball 2 will always be a favourite.
Yeah.
Because again, I loved the management, well, not management side, but you know, buying the star players and then putting
Yeah.
those into your team and battering people. I still remember really, really clearly playing Cannon Fodder for the first time. And I remember going on to it was Andrew Derbyshire, who's but still mates on Facebook, old schoolmate, and going up to his room, and he's like, "Ah, Cannon Fodder," and we remember the not hassle, but the bad press they had with probably the Daily Mail, you know, having the Poppy on the cover originally and then having
Oh,
to
yeah.
change it,
Yeah.
you know. So we
That's
were
the only
playing
cover I can
this.
remember.
Well, I can't, you know, it was like a big deal though, you know, it's like, oh, you can't
Yeah.
have that. But that game, we loved it because it's got a really decent difficulty curve. I think it's just right. So when you're starting out, and obviously it's just you know, a couple of soldiers, a couple of bad guys to shoot, and obviously it's mouse controlled as well. It does get quite a bit harder later on, but because it's a bit of a strategy to it as well, it wasn't just
Mm.
like run straight into trying to shoot everyone. You had to use a bit of stealth at times and everything. And I'd not really played another game like that at the time. So that's one that sort of still stands out. I know it came out on consoles, but it was nowhere near as good
No,
on
it's with a
consoles.
pad, it sucks. Like, it really does
Mm,
suck with a pad. It's just incredible to play with a mouse, and it's
this is
just
what I mean. Yeah. So
it's
this is one
that's one of
reason
the games
why.
for me as well that I played a lot in my friend's house to begin with, the same person we played Championship Manager with.
Mm,
And yeah, that was when I was just like, I really need an Amiga. Because
yeah.
this
No.
was
No. No. No.
like
It
a
makes
year before
sense.
I got mine. But I've been playing Amiga since about 90, not 90. It would have been 89, I think, was the first time I started
Yeah.
playing on it at a friend's
Yeah.
house.
But then,
Um,
like, I think those are like the main ones. I'm also going to mention Theme Park because I've not
that's
really
on my list
played
as well.
any strategy games really back then. I played like
Yeah.
a couple of war strategy games, but not like a fun sim really. So I loved the idea of it. You could design, you know, your own roller coasters, your own ride tracks, and everything. And because I had the A1200, I had the little intro, which isn't that impressive nowadays when I look back at it. But back then in 1994, I thought this is amazing. I actually bought that game legit from Electronics Boutique in Bolton.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, you know, I think like probably 35 quid for the A1200 version because of this intro. And I remember it being like sponsored by Midland Bank as well, you know, where something the console versions didn't have the same
I
sponsorship.
forgot about that. Yeah.
But I liked it because I liked games where the few that I bought legit, I get my money's worth out of them.
Yeah.
So again, Champ Manager again, like I said, games like you can do things in different ways. So again, Theme Park was perfect for it.
Yeah.
And yeah, those are probably the same. The main ones. One thing I will just say, and it was still a recent what's it called, discovery a few years ago, was Rough and Tumble, which is a run and gun game,
It's a
and it
very
comes
good
with
run and
the
gun game.
yeah, oh god, yes. And I've
Yeah.
absolutely loved it because it scrolls really, really well. It's just as good as any console game, and I mean that. It looks good, the music's great and everything.
I prefer it
Yeah.
to Turrican
Yeah, no,
on
I
the
do.
Amiga.
I do. I struggle now with Turrican. I really, really do. I tried to
Well,
play
that's
it last
Turrican's the
month.
one series. There's the one thing on the Amiga that I think is better played on the Super Nintendo with Super Turrican. I think that's better than the Turrican games on the Amiga. And I really like the games on the Amiga, but I think Super Turrican is superior.
No, I can see that, but yeah,
It's the only one.
those are the main ones that I
Yeah.
can think of. Anyway, what have you got on yours? I've probably thrown about a dozen there.
So I've got obviously Secret of Monkey Island, Monkey Island 2, LeChuck's Revenge,
Of course.
and Fate of Atlantis. So these three games showed me that games could be more than just going from A to B. Because
Yeah.
before that, I played Elite a lot, but previously, like on my Spectrum, and I loved that. But I hadn't really got into many games where I wasn't directly just controlling everything that goes on. Whereas this, it was more, it was slower paced. You had to then try and figure out these obtuse puzzles, but then they also had this like really rich narrative to them as well. And it was like playing a movie. That's how it felt.
Yeah.
Obviously, it didn't look anywhere near as good as a movie, but it still felt like Secret Monkey Island, Monkey Island 2 were like movies that you were playing. And then obviously Fate of Atlantis, it did feel like you were playing Indiana Jones, because that one had the thing where you could actually use combat as well in that game,
Yeah. Yeah.
which was yeah. So those three were, I'm going to count them as one, because I kind of consider them like
No, that's fine.
obviously
That's fine.
ilk,
LucasArts games. That's
yeah.
fine.
They really opened my eyes to that. So yeah, I'm going to go with those. Sensible World of Soccer was like the biggest game on earth for me. So forget your Champ
Yes.
Italia.
Yeah.
I love Champ Italia, but not as much as I loved Sensible World of Soccer. I would play that with my friend. We would have because you could set up like tournaments as well,
I was
like
about
with
to
your
say
friends.
that. Yeah.
And we would go round to my mate's house because he had the bigger TV and that. And we'd all bring our different pads with us to play sensible soccer. So some would bring Mega Drives. There'd be one kid who'd bring a Master System pad. One weirdo.
Yeah.
So yeah, and we'd all like take turns playing against each other with our own pads. That's because my friend didn't like anyone touching like his pads. I think he had a bit of OCD.
Those were the
I wouldn't.
rules back then. You'd have
Yeah,
your main
bring
pad,
your own
and you'd
pad.
have you'd
Yeah,
have player two pad, which was
yeah,
always like
yeah.
a third
Which is the
party.
only one I ever got off of him. Was
Yeah.
always his crappy one. But yeah, so we would go round and we would have these big tournaments. There's like 8 of us. We thought it was huge. It was like a World Cup for us. And we would then, because it would then pull you into different groups. So you just put your teams in, and then it would split you out into your tournament.
Yeah.
And it was just amazing. Like, I'd never seen anything like it in a video game before, where you could do that and play with your mates like that. It was just incredible. And the thing with Sensible World of Soccer is the gameplay is much deeper than it first appears, because you've got the things like you've got the aftertouch, you've got your control and things which just were not in any other football game. to that point.
No,
Just
no, of
not.
course.
Yeah.
I mean, the big thing for me was the editor as well to
Well, the
change,
editor was fantastic. Me and my
names
mates
and
were,
things like that.
yeah,
Uh,
me and this one friend, Ian was his name. We would spend hours going through it. So I'd get the sticker album out,
yeah.
and I'd be telling him the teams, be telling him the players' names for each team, and he'll be there typing them in. And yeah, we would just go through.
I think you've got the better job there, haven't you? It's a case of come on, we're only on Aston Villa, the third page. We've got to get through 540 stickers
But you'd
by
have to do
the
it for the
time we
international
start.
teams as well. So you'd have to get the World Cup sticker albums or the Euro sticker albums as well out.
Christ, I know.
So it would be there
Tell
would be
your
a
mum you
lot of
won't be
work
down
going
for
into
your
this.
tea. But again, there's still sensible world of soccer updates, for
Yeah, I
modern
know.
day that people do, and competitions,
Yeah,
in various countries. So you're thinking that people are putting the likes of like Haaland into it and stuff like that. They've updated everything. It's absolutely amazing. It really, really is.
yeah,
And
it is.
it it was basically one of those Amiga games that still had official updates up until the end of the Amiga life, really. I think we had the 97, 98 one
It did.
officially
Yeah,
as well on Amiga, thereabouts, like the
but
Worms Director's Cut right at the death as well.
is there anything better than seeing Rude Hood on the cover of a video game?
No, I know, and every time I'm looking through magazines and I see that, and it's just very, very iconic,
It's
you
so
know.
iconic. It
Mm.
really is. I didn't mean to do that with the Dutch twang there either. Like, yeah, shark.
No, no,
Um,
iconic.
but yeah. So Sensible World of Soccer is another one for me. Sticking with the sensible software, Megalomania was another one.
That's a good game. It's
So
quite hard.
good. It's
It's quite
hard,
hard.
but it's
Yeah.
so good. The amount of hours I lost on that, and I used to love trying to do like a piece with someone. Like you
Yeah.
try and then the guy would be like, "It's never going to work."
Yeah, I
Oh,
know.
you bastard.
And we're running out of elements. We're running out of
Yes.
elements. You know, it's like
Oh man.
it's all over. I thought it was brilliant, Megalomania.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And because I think they were based out of Saffron Walden, Sensible Software, which is
Okay.
not. I lived in
Not
this place
far.
called Linton, and Cambridge
Linton Travel
is
Tavern.
no,
No.
no. So I lived in this place called it has a zoo, but yes, it's a very small, crappy zoo. But I would often wake up to the sound of lions in the morning, which was quite cool.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, just down the road from us was Saffron Walden. So I was always quite supportive of the local businesses like that. So I'd be like, oh, they're from down the road. Got to
But
buy
that's
their
what I was
games.
like with Ocean, because I was like, well, they're only in Manchester.
Fucking
You
ocean.
know.
So other ones for me, obviously Lemmings. We've touched on Lemmings before.
Yeah.
One of my favourite games of all time. My first one though was Christmas Lemmings on the Amiga because that's the one my dad bought. But then I did play Game Boy Lemmings and I hated it because it was just shit without playing it with a mouse. Other ones, obviously, Worms is another really big one for me. Absolutely loved
Yeah,
Worms
because that was quite
so
obviously it's quite a
much.
late release, even
Not
the
for me
original
because I only got my
Worms.
Amiga in late '94. So
Well, even so, right? So Worms is like late '95, right? But I
yeah,
remember, and even though I had the PC by the time that had come out, my mate Mariner across the road, a different part across the road, he started his Amiga 1200, and he got Worms, and we were like, "This is brilliant!" Like, I know it came out on PlayStation quite quickly as well, but again, like Lemmings, it was best on Amiga.
yeah.
And you were
So
like
it
going,
was.
this is fantastic. And again, naming your worms, hours,
Yeah,
hours spent on this game, where you just be like going, fantastic. It's just got everything you want from a game. Easy to pick up and play. That sort of banter with your mates. Just again, funny as well. And like you said before, like the British humour, and like to obviously now have like, chance to speak to Andy about it. Andy's also doing the director's cut update as well, where people are putting in. It's taken a little bit longer than what he originally planned, but it's
Oh
still,
yeah, I've been following
underway.
that. I'm
Yeah,
really
yeah,
looking forward to playing that. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm really looking forward to playing that. Yeah, other games for me, North and South
Early
is
one,
one
isn't
for
it?
me.
But it's a
Yeah,
good
it's early.
one.
Because this one, I never owned this one, but I did used to play this a lot at my friend, my friend Simon. This was when I first started playing on the Amiga in '89.
Mm,
So when I used to go around to his house, it was much more fun than going to mine to playing on theirs. So we would go and play Amiga at his, and yeah, playing that for the first time, that I was like, oh my god, this is incredible. It's a kind of a strategy game as well, where you put your army against well, you obviously will choose the north, but Simon always preferred to be the south. I don't know what he's doing in his life now, but yeah, I hope he's not racist. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, so North and South for me was another one I absolutely adored. Another game I used to play at his a lot as well that I loved was Rocket Ranger, which I'm really pleased to see is on the box cover of the A1200, which means it's going to be on there because I never owned
Yeah.
this. It's just a game I played at my friend's house. And again, this one to me it opened my eyes into what you could do. So what you do with this game is you would be you would have this technology. It's kind of like the Rocketeer, like the old comic series, the Rocketeer, and then later the
Yeah,
movie.
yeah. Yeah, I've never ever
Um,
played Rocket Ranger, so it's all new to me, this.
so it's kind of split up in sort of different styles of gameplay. So you have this thing where you send agents into different parts of Europe, and then they then take on other agents to try and you try and gain territory within Europe to push Hitler back from invading America. Um, and you fly over, and there's like a third person shooting sections as well, which is really cool. But it's really kind of cinematic, but also a strategical game as well. It's really hard to
Yeah.
sell it, but it's really good. Like I mean, I'm not exaggerating when I say it's really good. It is really really good game, and I cannot wait to play it again because it's just brilliant. I can't wait. It's so good. But it's got this amazing presentation as well. And it has this bit at the beginning with Hitler as well, and he's like waving his fist manically, and it's like digitized Hitler. It's yeah, he's going absolutely mad. But talking about taking down America, it's really cool. It's such a good game. Oh God, what's another one? Oh, Super Frog.
Yeah, yeah, this
Yeah.
is a really good platformer. And again, mainly exclusive to Amiga at the time.
Well, it was
Well,
like
even yeah,
it was only on the
CD32
Amiga
as well.
and the
Yeah, but
CD32,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then later it came to PS3 and Vita and Steam, but it's not available anywhere now. But yeah, the so Super Frog was this. It had was it Lucas Aid that was in it?
Yeah, it was Lucas A because it was originally going to be Newcastle Brown.
Yes, that's it. So that one for me is I think it's an absolutely top 16-bit platformer. I prefer it to the Mega Drive Sonics. And I love Sonic on the Mega Drive. But I absolutely adore the open level design of Super Frog because there's loads of little secrets and things you can find in that game, and it's got that British humour as well that I like. Um, yeah, I think it's a fantastic platformer. I really do. I absolutely love that. I also really like Zool as well. I'm putting this in as like a thing. I think Zool is a fantastic platform as well. I don't really care too much for Zool 2 though.
No, no,
I
because
think Zool 2 is not as
I
good.
didn't play Zool 2 at the time, but I've tried it recently and it's just yeah. The thing is with Zool, so this was about 1992.
Mm.
It had so much hype around it because obviously it was like meant to be the Amiga's, key
Sonic.
platformer. Yeah,
Yeah.
Sonic really. And some levels look great. And then like we've talked about off air when we played the Zool Redimensioned on PS4.
Which is
Um,
fantastic. by the
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
And the new
yes,
camera on that makes it even better.
yes. I know where you can actually see more of the screen
More
as well, and you're
because
not just
you're
run
going at
shooting
a clip.
things. Oh,
You are going
exactly.
at quite a clip in that game, and that's one of the things that I always felt I didn't like it as much as Super Frog, because it was like you couldn't see as much, and I felt like I was having too many cheap deaths. Even though I did get through it on the Amiga, I didn't like it as much as Super Frog. But I think Redimensions is really good. It's like right up there with Super Frog for me now. All they had to do was pull that camera back.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's just it, because it's all very well having the speed. This is one reason why I absolutely hate Bubsy the Bobcat. Because
That's
again,
because it's
that seems to
shit.
be, yeah. But the thing is, the speed in a platformer. But when you're going so fast, you're just running into something. It's
Mm,
just a complete joke.
yeah. Other games. Sorry, I'm gonna go be reeling off a few here. Okay.
Go for it.
So Rick Dangerous 2 from Core Design as well,
Yeah,
which is
never.
I've really liked
I'm
that as well. No, weren't a fan.
No, I always preferred the original one because of the setting. More Indiana
Uh,
Jones and Flash Gordon type thing. You
yeah,
know.
I did like that one, but I think I prefer the gameplay of 2. For me, I just think is a better game. And then Simon the Sorcerer, which I think is brilliant. I didn't play it at the time. I remember playing it on PlayStation first, and I played the Amiga version.
But,
God, when would that have been? About 10 years ago.
but I've just played Origins, and that goes straight into the original Simon the Sorcerer. And yeah, any of the point and click adventures we've talked about, the LucasArts ones, and this is what I mean. That's the perfect example of something that the SNES didn't have. So when I'm weighing out up the Amiga and SNES, um, in fact, I did a piece about this in one issue of the mag, and I put like why I went from the SNES to the Amiga, and this is one of the reasons, because I missed point and click adventures. You know,
Yeah,
it's a genre that I just enjoyed because it was telling a story. I played a lot of LucasArts ones on the ST, like Zack McCracken and Monkey Island, but then Monkey Island 2 was on the Amiga. And yeah, it was just like, I had so many great ones, like say Beneath a Steel Sky as well,
yeah, that's going to be my
Law of a
next.
Temptress and stuff.
Lure of the Temptress is incredible as well. I love that's Revolution, isn't it? Same as
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's on the A1200, isn't it? Lure of the Temptress.
Um,
It is.
I'm not 100% on that. It might be.
It is.
I honestly don't
Um,
know.
just to give a quick plug for this month's Retro Gamer, Ashley Day has written a really good Simon the Sorcerer article.
Oh, okay.
That's well
Excellent.
worth checking out. So if you haven't picked up this latest one, do so. Don't be put off by Banjo Kazooie being on the front cover. It does have Simon the Sorcerer inside, and it's
Banjo
really good.
Kazooie is a good game, so it's fine. It's probably the best N64 platformer.
You are a dirty whore.
I stand by that. I prefer it to Mario 64, and I've
You
said this
are.
so many times.
I know you have, and I will
I
never,
know.
ever, ever forgive you.
Banjo
Um,
Kazooie trumps Mario 64. Far better. Granted, it did come out after Mario 64, so the camera angle has had time to improve. But yeah, I still die on that hill.
You are absolutely insane. But yeah, Beneath the Steel Sky is my last game that I think is incredible. Again, it's another point and click, but the tone of that game is just unlike anything else at that time. It's like this set in this futuristic world, kind of Blade Runner-ish, but not, as snazzy as Blade Runner. But it's still got that whole oppressed future vibe to it.
Mm.
And
Well, like I
yeah,
say, I speak to Tony Warrener a lot, who worked on this, and also we gave that away as a free download for our CD32 issue of Amiga Addict with Charles Cecil's blessing, which was really nice of him.
which is the
You
second
know,
time that's been given away free.
I know, because the first time was Retro
Yeah,
Gamer, wasn't it? Many, many
Much
years
Gamer,
ago.
yeah. That
Yeah,
was
the early
when,
days.
yeah, and I remember when I picked up that issue and seeing Beneath the Steel Sky, I was like, oh my God, I could have played Beneath the Steel Sky again. Put it straight into my PC and installed that. I was like, oh, yes. It's so good. It's still really good, though. There's a really good port to iOS.
Right, okay. I've not
That's
played that.
really, yeah, it's really, really cool. I'm just gonna. Have you got any other games that Oh, one more. I nearly
Go on.
forgot. This is another game I played at Simon's to begin with, and then later played it myself I bought it myself. Was Another World, or Out of This
Yeah,
World, as it's
yeah,
known
yeah.
elsewhere.
So again, this was the ST version for me, but I preferred this to Flashback. But Flashback is best on the Amiga, from what the
Oh yeah,
majority of people say. You know, um, I'm just trying to think. I mean, I know people have got RoboCod as a favorite, which
I know Danny would.
I do enjoy.
I do enjoy it.
And then what else? Whenever I set VA 500 Mini up, Theo likes playing Alien Breed,
Oh, I love
which,
Alien Breed.
again, one of Team 17's big ones
Yeah.
there, and we did a few Alien Breed games as well. Um, I'm just trying to think what else.
Oh, we
Even
forgot
though,
Desert
go on.
Strike. Desert Strike,
Yeah, yeah.
which is
But
so much better on the Amiga.
well, Desert Strike and we got Jungle Strike on Amiga as well, and I
Yeah.
think both are decent versions. But this is what I mean. The the thing is, I think, and it's same with Aladdin as well. Aladdin is like the Mega Drive version rather than the SNES version, because it's a Virgin
Yeah.
who did it, and these are the sort of things where the Amiga would be more like the Mega Drive versions of games. A lot of the time. And yeah, it's just, I mean, I'm going to give a shout out to Dungeon Master, even though it's mainly as the ST version that I played it. It still was a big, big influence. I'm just trying to think what else, really. Strategy wise, I tend not to go on that many, like as I didn't bother with um, June 2, which a lot of people obviously that sort of
Oh my God, I
got
forgot that. Yeah, June
yeah, that
2 was
got
another one that I absolutely loved.
Westwood
Yeah.
on the way with Command and Conquer, quite soon after. But yeah, see what I mean? But there's something for everyone, right? And I know you got the arcade conversions early on. You got things like Dynamite Ducks, Shinobi. Some of these are absolutely awful, by the way. Afterburner, Space Harrier, and stuff. But the
Mm.
thing is, these arcade conversions had come to the Amiga in the early days, right? Just to get games there. Like late 80s, early 90s, things like Shadow Dancer and, like we said, Final Fight. Some of them, like Golden Axe, is quite a decent one. Again, I did a piece on this Sega conversions on Amiga. Some of them were god awful. But then by the time you get to 92, the
Yeah.
Amiga's really, really knocking it out of the park. 92 to 95, because it's holding its own as a 16-bit machine, and anything that the consoles are doing, the Amiga's doing just as well. You know, it's because remember,
I
I know
think it's
you've like pulled your face at Mortal Kombat 2, but the fact is, Mortal Kombat 2 still came to Amiga. You know, so it was still coming out on
yeah, it's
the
shit on
machine
Amiga
as
though.
well. Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, yeah, I totally do. And one of the things I will say is what I found was that the games they were deeper than what you got on the consoles. Yeah,
yeah,
with like we're talking about with the point and click adventures, the strategy games and stuff like that, it was all so much more involved than you were getting on the SNES, which was yeah, it's kind of like they're kind of like if you do it to like food references, right? Consoles were more like McDonald's and Burger King, whereas
yeah,
an Amiga was sitting down to eat a nice meal in a fine dining restaurant. You know,
yeah.
you get
No, no,
yeah,
no.
it's
I
you're
can see that.
spending more money, but you're having a better experience.
Well, you're spending more money on the hardware, but not on the games.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
that's
I
that's a
meant
big
hardware.
thing. So I
Yeah.
suppose it balanced out. I mean, the thing is, remember, you still got the original FIFA on Amiga as well, but then you didn't get any of the other
You didn't need it, mate. You had
um,
Sensible World of
things.
Soccer.
No, exactly. No, but that's just it. But again, FIFA came to Amiga, and then it was like, all right, we don't need this here because again, kickoff had gone by then. But then you'd be like going, yeah, you're never going to beat that. But then you still got your football management stuff as well. You still
Yeah.
had a few other sort of pretenders to the throne and things. I mean, I know we touched on mags just for a minute, but the amount of Amiga magazines that you had. So back then, you had the ones which were just games like Amiga Action and things, and Amiga Power, and then you had things like CU Amiga and Amiga Format. But the thing is, you had the magazine Cover Disc Wars, where it'd be like 2 discs, 3 discs, 4 discs,
Yeah.
full of demos, PD games and stuff. And you're thinking, I'm spending £4, roughly £3 to £4 on a magazine,
Mm.
and it's giving me, more stuff to play. Amiga Format used to give away full productivity software. We went through a period of doing that because it was like one of the best-selling magazines for future publishing. Selling
Well,
like thousands.
I used to buy it before I had an Amiga.
Yeah,
It was one of those magazines that I just used to buy because I was so desperate to have one. And I would literally, like, the pages would just be falling apart by the end of the month because I'd just
yeah,
been poring over it so much. And just, yeah, yeah, I loved that whole scene back then, even before I was part of it, you know?
yeah, yeah. No. I
We
think
did,
I think it's great.
we have forgotten one really great game, actually,
Oh,
Syndicate.
go on. Yeah, I was thinking that when I was going through, going, oh yeah,
Yeah.
not really mentioned Bullfrog too much, because again, I don't like the console versions. They're too kiddie-ish, like the way the sprites are. But Syndicate, when I first played that, I was like, what the hell is this? Because I'd never really played anything like it again, you know.
Yeah, that was another game for me where I was just like, oh my God, this is interesting. This is new. This is a cool little strategy game as well. But yeah, I think that's an amazing game. There's also another game I really liked, which was called Hired Guns. Did you ever play that?
I never played it. DMA Design, I think it was,
Yeah,
off
and
the top of my head.
it's like an RPG, but with like it's set in a first person, but with guns and stuff. It's pretty cool. So
Yeah,
it's
no, I've still
kind of
never
like
played that.
kind of like a first person shooter before before they were really a thing. It's pretty cool. I really like that game. Again, that was a game I played at Simon's. A lot of the stuff I played at Simon's, I was so jealous of his Amiga setup. I still remember how it set up because so Ian's one was just like a normal one, just set up in his room, whereas Simon's was in his conservatory that we had to go and
Wow.
sit in. And in the
Okay.
summer, sitting in there trying to play on the Amiga in the summer was fucking torture. It was so hot.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
of
but then in the
course. And
winter
those
it was
power
so bloody
packs back
cold.
then.
Yeah.
Oh no. I know, all huddled on the power pack,
Yeah.
in winter.
Yeah. And stripped down to our
Oh no.
duds in the summer. Yeah. But no,
No,
I
I
think
think
that
it's
covers
been a
it
good
pretty
chat.
well. Yeah, I think that's covered it
Yeah.
pretty well for that stuff. Like I say, we will have part two, which will go more in depth on the hardware and going through lots of the variants and stuff like that. When we have our guests for that one, plus Danny should be available for that one as well. So that'll be really cool. Yeah, so I think that about wraps it up for Amiga. Is there any last words on the Amiga you want to say?
Um, yeah, I was just going to say a massive thank you to obviously everyone involved in the Amiga scene, making games for it, putting out hardware for it. The likes of Retro Games Limited really behind it. Again, people like putting on the shows and everything. Us guys doing the magazines and everything. Again, Addict.media, sorry, cheap plug, for the Amiga format tribute.
You realize you're going
Um,
to have to give me a copy of the magazine for free for plugging this, right?
and then I was
If you do,
just
I'll
trying to
take out a
think what else.
subscription.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. Let's see what we can do. But no, I just I just think it's absolutely amazing, that here we are, it's 30 years on. So no, it's 40 years on. God, I'm losing a decade. It's 40 years since the Amiga
40 years.
launched.
Yeah.
And some of our memories were going back 30 years, I should have said. But for the last 5 years, it's been quite a big part of my life again, writing about it and playing the games again. So I'm excited to see what happens next year because there's a lot of people who are, making games certain stuff, and like we said, VA 1200 coming very soon. And again, we're not seeing the full game lineup yet.
No. Like I
No.
say, I try like I said this in the PlayStation episode about how I get my nostalgia for PlayStation is by still playing the games that I identify as PlayStation games. Like I still play Wipeout, the newer
Yeah.
Wipeouts and stuff like that. And Amiga, I still look for the games that I would think that feels like an Amiga game, you know. And I still do that now. So looking at things like, say, like Xenocrisis, which came out a few years ago.
Yes.
What's the
That
other
was
one
great.
called? That racing game with Barry Leach music.
Oh,
Horizon Chase.
Horizon Chase. Oh God, what
Yeah,
a game that
another
is.
game. I consider that like a spiritual Amiga game. And
Yeah,
they
yeah.
released Ultra Core, which was meant to have come out as hardcore on the Amiga as well. That got a release finally on modern platforms.
Oh, wow,
So
okay. No, I've not seen that one.
have you not
No.
Ultra Core? So
No.
hardcore. It was going to be published by Psygnosis, developed by Dice or Digital
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
as they were called, and yeah, it got scrapped last minute because the Amiga was pretty much. This was in '95. Amiga sales were down. Mega Drive sales were down. It was meant to be released on those two platforms, and yeah, so they just Psygnosis canned it, and it was practically done. So another developer picked it up, and I think it would have been 2020, something like that. It came out on
Just looking now. I've never ever seen
PS4,
this.
Vita, PC, and then later got a Switch and Xbox port.
Oh my God. Just looking at it.
It's really good. It's
Wow.
like because I've played it a lot on Vita, and it's just fantastic. Oh my God, I forgot. Bloody hell! There's one game I completely forgot, which is one of my absolute favorites. We'll get to that in the next episode because otherwise I'm just going to go on. I won't even spoil it because yeah, and it's one of the games that will come as no surprise for people. But yeah, we will cover that next time.
It's going to be a
Um,
shoot 'em up, isn't it?
it is indeed a shoot 'em up.
I thought I was like, I'm sure there's a genre here that we're missing, you
Yeah,
know.
there
Oh,
is.
right,
I
yeah, I
can't
need
believe
to
I
have a look
forgot
at
it.
that Ultra Core properly now.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But yeah, like I say, that's how I get my nostalgic fits, and I have more nostalgia for the Amiga and PlayStation than I do any other systems. Those two, and I think it is just because of the time that they were in my life. It's my teenage years, which are your formative years, right?
yeah,
And I
yeah,
think that is
it's like the music as well, isn't it?
yeah,
But then you think Amiga followed straight on really by the PlayStation. You have got, let's just say, from 1992 to 1998, or maybe two, yeah, we'll just say those 5 6 years. How many amazing games are in that small 5 year period? To
it's
go from
incredible.
like 92 to, well, 6 year period, so to go from like 92 to 98, so you're going from Super Frog to, say, Metal Gear Solid and things like that, and all these games in between, and that's just from the next generation.
Yeah,
And now when you have a look, the PlayStation 5's 5 years old today,
yeah,
and yeah, it's the same amount of time almost.
yeah. And
Anyway,
the jump in those 5 years is
oh
incredible
yeah,
as well. But the thing is,
insane, yeah.
the jump in the quality on the Amiga's incredible from how it first started in like
Well, this is what I
'85.
mean. Yeah, yeah. When you're talking about things like just a few very dodgy arcade conversions and things like that. I remember, like Marble Madness is a good game, for example, but some arcade conversions were absolutely awful. But then again,
Mhm.
this is why I said from '92, the Amiga then is really, really marching on. I know you've had some highlights, but then you're just like going, oh, you need an Amiga to play. Well, quite a lot of the games we've talked about today, you know.
That was the thing. It was just seeing everything I couldn't have on the other consoles I had at home. It was just like, I
I
need
would
to
love
get.
to know. I would love to know how many Amiga games were converted to consoles if it was more than what console games were converted to Amiga. So, for example, I know obviously you've got like Super James Pond going to SNES, and James Pond was on the Mega Drive as well. But then stuff like Syndicate, Cannon Fodder, Chaos Engine, and things like that, because then from the SNES, you've got things like God, I can't even think of one off the top of my head, but like I don't know, like remember you had like Wipeout on the Amiga by the end of it,
Yeah,
and you're like going,
2097 was on
yeah,
the
yeah,
Amiga
which
1200.
is
Yeah,
insane. You needed a souped up one, but yeah. Anyway,
that is one
but
of the
yeah,
first games I'm going to download onto my A1200.
yeah, because I've never played that. There's quite a few of
I
those
bought it
launch
back in the
day ones.
day, but I didn't have an Amiga 1200. I just bought it because I was like, I bloody love Wipeout. I'm buying this. One day I'll get an Amiga 1200.
There
Um,
you go. It's
yeah,
almost time.
it is almost time. We are now just 7 months away from me owning an Amiga 1200.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
we'll
the
let you
countdown
call
has
it a day and
begun.
wrap it up.
Yeah, so thank you very much for joining me again, Paul. Always a pleasure.
No worries. We've
And
got to do
yes,
our look back one soon.
yes, that will
Our
be coming
egg
up. We need to
capsule.
get that done probably next week. And we need to do the episode 20 should be out next week as well. So there'll be this one. This will come out. You'll be listening to this on a Friday, and then on the probably Monday night, Tuesday morning, episode 20, and then we'll get the next capsule out as well. So that will be out, and then we'll try and get part 2 done by the end of November as well,
Yeah.
for the Amiga. And then in December, we've got the Xbox 360 episode, celebrate 20 years of the Xbox 360. So that's going to be a good one. I can't wait to talk about
Mm.
that system. Fantastic system. Can't wait to talk about that. Hopefully I'll be able to get the PSP one done soon as well. That would be good. But
Right.
yes. Anyway, thank you very much for listening, everyone.
See you soon.
The Amiga from Commodore offers fun, games and education for the whole family. The Amiga from Commodore at your local dealer now.